to the Hiking and Backpacking with Goose podcast. In this episode, I'll hike the Middle Prong Trail in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I'm really looking forward to this hike because I should see 3 waterfalls today. Before I get into the trail description, a quick update on things going on with me. My garden is doing okay, but as of the recording of this episode, I don't yet have any veggies to harvest. I've been spending a lot of time working on the reboot of a business that was put on hold for another opportunity. I won't bore you with the details because it's not as fun as hiking, but you do have to pay the bills, so you have to work. If you're a long-time listener, then you'll notice that the last 5 episodes have included some bumper music. You may also recall that I previously complained about Spotify eliminating the tools that I used for production and editing of my audio podcast. Well, I finally located some reasonably priced production and editing tools, so hopefully the production quality of my episodes have improved a little bit and hopefully a little bit more in the future. In a recent episode, I mentioned that this podcast can now be heard as an audio podcast on YouTube. It's available on many platforms. In case you're wondering, the top 5 platforms in terms of the number of listeners for this podcast are Apple Podcast, Pandora, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, and Podcast Addict. It's kind of interesting that even though I host this podcast on Spotify, it doesn't even make the top 10 platform list for me. I wonder why that is. Anyway, if you like this podcast, please give it a good rating on the platform that you use and recommend it to other people you know who are interested in hiking. If you like it, they'll probably like it also. Also, remember to subscribe to the podcast so that the new episodes are automatically downloaded. Now, on to the trail. The Middle Prong Trail is located in the Tremont area of the Smokies. This area lies between Elkmont and Cades Cove, which I've covered on previous episodes. Tremont was one of the communities located here before the creation of the park and was one of the areas where there was an logging operation. In fact, logging continued here for 4 years after the creation of the park because of an agreement between the owner and the Great Smoky Mountain National Park Commission. About half of today's hike will be on an old logging railway converted to a trail by the Civilian Conservation Corps many years ago. I hope to see some remnants of the old logging railway on this hike. Today, the Great Smoky Mountains Institute is located in Tremont. It's an educational center providing summer camps, educational programs for schools, and various workshops. My round-trip hike today will be a little over 8 miles. I've read mixed reviews on the difficulty of the hike from strenuous to easy, so I'm very confused, but I'll share my opinion on that later in the episode. The elevation gain is supposed to be 1,140 feet, so I'm thinking it's likely moderate to strenuous. My hike will take place along the middle prong of the Little River. Only 4/10 of a mile from the trailhead, I should see Lower Lynn Camp Falls, which is a multi-tiered 35-foot waterfall. At only 2/3 of a mile from the trailhead, I should see Lynn Camp Falls, which is another multi-tiered waterfall. At 1.9 miles, I'm supposed to be able to see a rusted-out Cadillac off the trail. Near there, I've heard that there will be a pile of rocks in the middle of the trail, which indicates a side trail that I should take to see the Cadillac. At 2.5 miles, I should reach Jake's Creek Trail, and at about 3.1 miles, I should see an old homestead chimney and some remnants of a logging operation. And finally, at a little over 4 miles, I'll arrive at a side trail which will take me to Indian Flats Falls. When I get there, I'll give you a halftime report and then make the return trip. To get to the trailhead today, I'll enter the park at the Townsend, Tennessee entrance, turn right at the Townsend Y onto Little River Road. Then very quickly, I'll turn left onto Tremont Road and drive a little over 2.1 miles past the Great Smoky Mountains Institute. Then I'll continue for about another 3 miles on the road, which is gravel at that point. The trailhead and parking area are at the end of the road. Hopefully, the parking situation will be okay. That's all for now. I'll catch you at the halftime report.
Okay, it's time for the halftime report. So I made it to the top of Middle Prong Trail this morning. It's where it converges with Greenbrier Ridge Trail and Lynn Camp Prong Trail. So far, it's been a great hike. On the way in, I stopped by the Smoky Mountain or Great Smoky Mountain Institute, whatever it's called, and mainly just so that I could see if they had a bathroom there, which they do. But they also have a small gift shop. So if you're in this area, you might want to pop your head in there because it's the only restroom anywhere around here. Then continued on. The road became gravel. It was actually in very good shape in most places, so I think really any automobile should do okay. There were a couple of spots, but you could move to one side of the road or the other to avoid them. But overall, it was really, really good. The parking at the trailhead was plentiful, so had no issues there. Today is a weekday in the summer, so probably weekends might be busier, but during the summer, this is the height of tourist season, so not too bad here. It's been a beautiful day today so far. It is starting to get cloudy, though, so hopefully I'll be able to get back to the trailhead and the Goosemobile before anything weather-wise happens. The trail, for the most part, is very wide, and you can see, obviously, that it's on the old railroad bed, and it looks like that. And the steepness, the first 3 miles, it is steadily uphill, and I will tell you, so far I have had elevation gain of about 1,200 feet. Now, I'm at the top now, so I assume that's it. Shouldn't be any more. And some of that is related to a detour that I took that I'll talk about in a minute. But it is very steady the whole time for the first 3 miles, so I think most people would be fine on that. Even though it is uphill, it is a gradual uphill. At the 3rd mile, though, it starts to get steeper, and it does switchbacks. Now, it still looks like it used to be a railroad bed or a road bed. I started to think maybe it was more of a road bed at that point, but up here, not very far from the top, I did actually see an old railroad spike in the trail. So I guess it's a railroad all the way up. I'm very curious how those old trains made the switchbacks where, they're really like very tight turns, and I just didn't think trains could do that. Anyway, so on the hike, saw 3 nice waterfalls today. So this is definitely a waterfall hike. The first 2 are within 3/4 of a mile from the trailhead. So if you just wanted to take a short hike and see a couple of nice waterfalls, there you go. You can do it without much effort. And the third one, though, is a little bit different. Oh, by the way, at the first 2, there's nice wooden benches you can sit at and everything. But the third one is way up the trail, close to where I am now, and it is very sketchy how you get there. So there is a side trail, which I highly believe is not an official trail, but you can see it's extremely well worn. It's very obvious where it is because basically you come to a turn, one of the switchbacks, and the trail continues to the left, and then this other trail goes to the right. But as soon as you get on it, it becomes very narrow, rocky, rooty, dead trees along the way, very slick. You have to climb over dead trees and under dead trees. and have to really watch your footing. And then when you finally, and it goes downhill to get to the base of the upper falls, and when you get there, it comes out on some rocks there, which are extremely slick. So I guess what I'm saying is, I don't think it's really worth, risking your life to catch that third falls. You can kind of catch a glimpse of it before you get there, the lower part of it. But I did it, so I'll put some photos on Instagram of it so you don't have to. On one of the side trails along the way, first couple of miles, I can't remember exactly where, I did see the old rusted out car. Now, I can't vouch that it's a Cadillac. Frankly, it looks like any other automobile that was made when they first started mass producing cars, like a Model T or something. That's what it looked like to me. But you really can't see much of it anymore. There is a couple of trees came down on top of it, so it's kind of almost cut it in half. Most of it's rusted. I suspect a lot of people have taken little souvenirs of the car with them. But you can clearly see the front end of the car and some debris laying around there. There was no pile of rocks in the trail to indicate it, like I had been told there would be. But you can, there was a very obvious side trail there to get to it. I also saw on the other side, on the left-hand side of the trail coming up, looks like the foundation of a fireplace or an oven made of bricks. And that also had a very well-worn trail going to it. And both of those are right off the trail. You can see them without much effort. Other than that, I've really seen no evidence of, the chimneys I thought I might see, or remnants of lumber mill or railroad operations at all. I suspect you can't see them because in this area there is a very heavy and dense laurel, like everywhere. And so you really can't see much into the woods, even though the trees are fairly large. There's just a lot of undergrowth that would obscure your view in most places. And I think that would be the case year-round, because that laurel is, an evergreen, or it doesn't lose its leaves in the fall, is what I'm trying to get at. So far, it has really been a nice hike. I've really enjoyed it so far. There's nowhere to sit here during the halftime report, so I'm doing a standing snack and water break and giving you this update. And then when I'm done with that, I will head down the trail and get back to the Goosemobile. And then after that, I will catch up with you at the wrap-up.
So, my return hike was much quicker than the outbound half of the hike because it was all downhill. During my journey today, I did cross a few bridges. A couple of them were wide enough for a vehicle, but one was clearly a footbridge. I also had to rock hop a couple of streams in the higher elevation. This trail was fairly busy with hikers today, mostly in the first couple of miles of the trail. I would consider this hike to be of moderate difficulty, mostly due to the elevation gains. However, I think the first mile or so of this hike would be a great, easy hike that would provide you with great views of two multi-tiered waterfalls. Either way, I think if you're in the Smokies during peak season and you're looking for a lesser hiked area with some great scenery, then either the full hike or an abbreviated version of the Middle Prong Trail hike would be great for many people. The river, streams, waterfalls, and cascades were great. My hike today was 9.19 miles, which is a good bit longer than what most guides had indicated. And the elevation gain was 1,335 feet, which is also a couple hundred feet higher than what most guides had indicated. However, that elevation gain is gradual, so that's why I'm rating this hike as of moderate difficulty. I thought I would mention a resource that might be helpful to you in planning your next hike in the Smokies. It's a website called hikingthesmokies.com. I've used this and many other websites to plan my hikes for the last few years. What is particularly handy on this website is that they include an alphabetical listing of the trails, which includes links to the trail descriptions and also includes distance, elevation gain, and difficulty rating. By the way, I get no compensation from the people who run this website. I just thought it was a handy resource. I'll put a link in the show notes. I also frequently refer to a book titled Hiking Great Smoky Mountains National Park by Kevin Adams and Peter Barr. Their book is very comprehensive and breaks down hikes by sections of the park, which is handy if you're going to only be in specific areas of the park. Photos and some videos taken during this hike can be found on my Instagram account where my name is Goosa Hikin'. That's GOOSEAHIKIN. A final thought. As always, enjoying the great outdoors is most certainly enjoyable and fun, but please don't engage in strenuous physical activities that are beyond your capabilities or your physical condition. Make sure you're familiar with the wildlife you could encounter on your journey so you can be prepared. Also, make sure that you wear weather-appropriate clothing, carry an emergency medical kit, water, and a map, and always stay on the trail.